Okay, so guys, this is gonna be a quick trade recap for my NQ long which I took just now. This one here, not here, this one here, the why behind it, XYZ, everything. Just off of the daily chart, we could see price manipulating the range extreme, reacting off of it the previous day. So we could frame to the other side today. This could have been your objective intra-week high, but if you look at the 24-hour chart, which is basically the daily chart, but Monday being a bank holiday does get clubbed into Tuesday's daily candle, and it shows these two daily candles as one singular candle. So previous day high is ideally this high of आज क्या है भाई Wednesday. Yes. So this is Tuesday's high. This is current week's high. So previous day I took partial there and then took a trailing stop. Was targeting this. Yes, looked logical. But let's get into the why behind this. Daily chart here, SMT with ES here. Now if you have a look, we do have expansion met with expansion away from a relevant swing. We could consider it as a reversal. Daily profile kinda being in alignment, open low, displacement away. But one thing which was there, that other assets weren't aligning much with this long idea, aligning but not aligning at the same time. And so for the days I do want to wait for when I do not have a like clear willingness with or clear swings which I could trust, and I couldn't see a clear willingness. I do wait for 9:30 and I do demand a much clearer framework. I do get a bit more selective on days like these. So here I was wanting this EQ of previous day's range. Okay, you can't see it here, but this previous day range to get disrespected, and at the same time either manipulate this range low or displace through this range high. This range was there prior to 9:30. So I saw many people took this. This could look valid, but I wasn't there. But if I was there, how I would have framed it? Yes, would still have waited for this EQ of previous day's range to get disrespected. How I would have done that? Just by waiting for this high to get engaged and wanting to see clear displacement through it. Most probably an M1 setup to frame this continuation till the objectives. But this a failure swing? You could consider it is, but still, yes, SMT there. Yes, this could have been thought, but for the narrative part, yes, then I would have waited. If you have a clear narrative that today would go, yes, narrative is clear, higher, but the expectation of today being an inside bar. And when 9:30 lacks that comes into play, but doesn't immediately go, this here is 9:30, like spends this much time. This 9:30 driver is supposed to do something. It's just spending time here and there. I would reduce my risk sometimes or just call it a day. But as the last line of defense, I was still waiting for 10 a.m. as it was a 10 a.m. driver today. Jolt's opening something, but so I could see 9:30 reached a relevant, not this, reached a place where it should reverse off of, and if it fails to, then I would call it a low probability day, because if the expected drivers if the drivers are expected to do something, either distribute, either manipulate off of something, if it is failing to do that, then it is most likely not a high probability. So was waiting for 10 a.m. as the last line of defense. If 10 a.m. would have done something like this or displacing through this, short was never on my books, so I would have just called it my day. But by 10 a.m. 9:30 has already reached here, and 10 a.m. immediately starts expanding higher. So then you could see it as manipulation below here, and SMT with ES around 10 a.m. This much willingness. So this is what I took. ES forms SMT there. Same manipulation below this relevant swing. So yes, NQ being my preference to previous day, and here I didn't see this M3. I took this M5 instead. Somewhere here, yes, you could say too large of a stop. Yes, it was. But I took some parcels around there. I got filled around here, parcels there, and then trail for my final position, which final objective, which was this. This happened, then I trailed here. This happens, then I trailed here. Opposing candles in a established framework, relevant enough range opposing candles should hold in an established model, which is currently buy model to me. So yes, and this is where I took my partials, and this didn't got hit, and I got trailed out manually somewhere here. This is where my position was. So kinda like 1.34 or something position. Yes, then I was wanting to see this, not this, but this, to make us reach higher, expansion into an objective, then low time frame consolidation. Yes, so I was wanting to see something like this, expansion consolidation, then manipulate the other side of the range, then head back towards the objective. If this closure would have happened, then I would have trailed here. This never happens, then I'm just waiting to use it as a last line of defense. This also fails to get manipulated or fails to reverse price higher off of this. Instead, price displaces through this and shows lack of willingness to return back here. This close happened. I closed manually here because then this is where I would have wanted at the first place. This fails, then this as the last line of defense. Because if this is failing, then ES, ये क्या है? अच्छा इधर से दिखाना पड़ेगा यार, नहीं दिखाना इधर से मेरे को यार, इधर से दिखा रहा. Then ES, which has already reached a point where it could reverse lower off of at the same time, then ES is reversing. So then ES framework is into play, and NQ just reached its first objective and then just following ES plan. So yes, I got manually out there then here. So somewhat entered around here, partial there, and this is somewhere I exited my last partials. Yes, 1.34 or something position, but overall a good position, I would say. But I would have wanted this to happen at 9:30. Then I would have risked more, I would say. But on the days where the equity is open, the first 15-30 minutes aren't that good, even after hitting the relevant point of interest. Then yeah, those days are where you should be conscious or a bit conservative. First 30 minutes, if it drops, then it is okay, only if it is still in a range and hasn't reached a relevant point of interest where you would want to see some reaction out of it. If first 30 minutes are staying like that, it is still okay, you can still frame it as a high probability if 10 a.m. does this, right? But if 9:30 has already reached there and you expect the day to be bullish and 9:30 isn't reacting good off of it, then that is an indication if driver is not telling you, showing you clear willingness, even though it has reached the best spot where it should reverse off of. So yeah, I do pay attention to these things. Yes, and that is it for today. Any doubts, brother? You asked for the recap. Anyone else as well? Hi Gauru Singh. Any doubts if you have? I tried to. Okay, then I would hop off now. No doubts. I guess no perfect question I had rather. If I could ask, what was your question, brother? 9:30 prior to 9:30. Same entry, है ना? I would say valid, but I was having an expectation that it could be an inside bar. Yes, tomorrow could immediately reach higher for here. Yes, but I do not know why I was having an expectation of this being an inside bar inside this. Mm, I do not know exactly the why behind it, but yes. So I was already being very cautious, and I told Udibay in the morning that I would want to see something off of the EQ, previous day's EQ, and would idly want to wait till 9:30. Yes, because ES could still be framed lower, and YM wasn't so clean on the H4. Only asset which was a bit clean was NQ to the highs. RT5 maybe. Mm, could consider it maybe, but the most cleanest asset to long was NQ definitely. Swept the range low. I wanted to know empire. I wanted to know how you were able to enter at 10 a.m. without more confirmation after 9:30. Yes, I got exactly what I was looking for 10 a.m. to do, and 10 a.m. did exactly that thing, and I took that because that was what I was waiting for. Also, NQ law of the day has yes, NQ law of the day has no established swing, but NQ law of the day has no established swing. Yes, but see it in the terms of open low displacement away, right? Then you could see it as open low move away, right? And framework of previous day displacement away. If you have a look, this is a failure swing here as well, but this doesn't matter to me because if you look at the high time frame picture, price view it as price reached a relevant price pool displaced away, then these failure swings here wouldn't concern me much. These failure swings here wouldn't concern me much. Why? Open low displaced away, still staying far away from here, then I wouldn't concern about them. Yes, these would be a concern to me if price would have came till here. Then I would have wanted this to get manipulated. Here I did had it marked because 9:30 was not immediately reversing off of here. 9:30 wasn't immediately reversing off of here where I would have wanted it to reverse off of from. So I thought maybe 9:30 fails to reverse off of that. Maybe it wants to again form an established low of the day. So yes, it could maybe go there, and 10 a.m. could start going higher. Then I would still be okay framing it because this isn't my invalidation. Previous days EQ rests around here. So yes, I could have still framed a manipulation to the distribution off of the low of the day. I had it marked still. And what else did you ask? Okay, I did answer NQ low of the day and 10 a.m. without more confirmation, as 9:30 hit did already hit the spot where I would have wanted it to reverse from, right? Use this or use this, both works. Yes, this was a failure. Okay, best spot to reverse off of from, right? 9:30 already reached there, not just off of 3 minutes, but watch from here. Now it looks best, right? 9:30 ranging prior to it. 9:30 price ranging prior to 9:30. 9:30 hits one end. You do have a bullish bias, then you would want this price leg to be manipulation here, right? 9:30 doesn't show any sign for that. ओ मैं मार चला दूंगा ये जो ऐसे मेरे साथ चीटिंग करते हैं. 9:30 has already reached there. If I show it to you, if I show it on 30 minute, use this, but yes, preferably this. 9:30 already reached there, didn't reverse. Price has already reached at the relevant point where you would want a reversal, a protected swing to form. Then what do you want the next driver to do? Expand away from it to then confirm this reversal. And when 10 a.m. starts expanding away, then yes, that was my last line of like considering price today. If 10 a.m. hadn't moved immediately away from here, I would have just called it a day there. It took here. Why? Same idea. 9:30 already had hit this. This wasn't clear willingness to me. More wicks than bodies. So yes, we'll consider this much. 10 a.m. comes, SMT there immediately starts displacing away. Then you could see it as manipulation below here. Yes, I would consider it. Ninth previous driver hits, next driver expands away. Yes, but still, I was lowered with my risk because I would have preferred 9:30 to do that and not do this here. And maybe that was the reason you could already tell the day is not gonna be so high probable, not low probable as well, and hence not able to reach the full objective as well. Just NQ had the framework, only NQ was able to reach here, other assets weren't even able to reach there. So yes, मेरे templates जो मैंने खराब करे हैं ना, मेरे को अब याद भी नहीं है, इनके मैंने सेव भी नहीं करे हैं, तो मेरी डैश डैश हो जाएगी. ठीक है, रिकॉर्डिंग अभी भी चल रही है भाई, ये क्या गलत कर दी मैंने. Inside bar which a candle which stays inside previous candle, a candle which stays inside previous candle, ranging you could say, a candle which stays inside previous candles, a candle which stays inside previous candle, ranging. But if this closes strong, then yes, I yes not, but NQ that I would still want this to get hit. If this closes bullish, other assets not aligning much. Yeah, kind of conflicting bias thing. Yes, this is still open. If this is not met by good follow through, then I won't consider that as empty. But yes, NQ is still aligning with the idea, so I would look into it tomorrow. Candle consolidate, yes. So 10 a.m. open was a yes last line. That would be my validation or invalidation clearly. I do mainly trade indices for a reason because those drivers either invalidate my idea most times, either validate my idea, and sometimes save me from participating in bad price action as well. Because it expanded, and because it expanded higher, you could trust it enough to enter on the next candle. Yes, since we already have enough narrative, yes, and the drivers are aligning with that narrative. So yes. Yes, good Josh. Now you do understand. Now I could end the recording. Yes. M pattern. Why am after after sweeping current law of the day, it could have been considered too long here, but at that moment, this doesn't even look as much good as NQ's framework, and I was already long in NQ. So yes, clear objectives here. You could see a bi-model, Orly bi-model forming here, right? Cell side of the curve, by side of the curve. So yes, this still stays my objective between for NQ at least. Would see what ES gives me. Displaces through this tomorrow, then I could consider shorting it to range low. We'll see. Yes, I will end the recording now.